Welcome. You're just seconds away from the Brian Brawdy Show, where listener participation is strongly encouraged. Well, unless, of course, you're easily triggered, then listener discretion strongly advised. And if you fall into the latter camp, why don't you just mortal up already?
You're listening to the Brian Brawdy Show here on RadioBri.com. Unfettered, unfiltered, unafraid.
Good afternoon once again. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show, episode 547, entitled Bring Your Grit. One of my favorite ones here at RadioBri.com. And look, we hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. If you're listening here in the States, if you're listening abroad, as we know that you are, we hope you just had a great end of week and a great weekend with however you decided to celebrate. We hope you had a blast. All right, so we got a lot to get to today, so we'll probably jump right into it. But this episode is about Bring Your Grit. And I thought I'd share a quick story with you. When I was little, very little, I don't even think I was I may not have even been in second grade yet, to be honest. I was out in the backyard, and for whatever reason, everyone thought it was a great idea. Someone had gotten me a plastic golf set. Right? You know, those little plastic golf clubs. I don't remember if there was a bag, but there were plastic golf clubs and a little plastic white golf ball. So I'm busy smacking around this ball, and I thought, oh, here's a pretty cool little hole in the ground, right? Because even at that age, drive for dough, drive for show, putt for dough, right? I knew very early on that if you're going to be any good at this game of golf, it was, you had to practice your putting, learn how to read the greens, all that stuff, whatever, right? I probably didn't know any of that. It was a hole in the ground, and I'm like, oh, I think I could use that as a cup. Well, I did. So I got my little golf ball, and it was a brilliant, knowing me, probably a 1-foot putt. Brilliant putt. Stood over top, dink, right in. And I'm jumping around, raising my hands up in the air, right? And I'm just excited. I'm thrilled. I'm just absolutely, it's a 1-footer. I sunk it. So I go over, and the first thing I remember seeing, right, like Yoda using the Force in Star Wars, I remember seeing the little golf ball rise up, right? Like it start to quiver, like there was an earthquake. It started to quiver, and it was slightly rising up out of the hole. And I'm thinking, this is long before Star Wars. I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. I'll be able to, I don't even know if it was called the Force, right? Who knows what it was called, but I'll be able to use whatever I can to manipulate the path of this golf ball. So I walk over, I go to pick it up. Well, of course, you know by now, right, which is where I first developed the term Irish luck, don't believe the hype. Of course, I had picked the hole of a yellow, like the main hole, apparently. Like there's like the super highway hole. Maybe there was an escape hole. I don't know. I didn't found it. But I found the main thoroughfare, the main throughway. Apparently the only one with a bridge in and out from this yellow jacket's nest. And again, in addition to Irish luck, don't believe the hype, probably where I came up with the term, you can't spell Brian without the I in idiot, right? You can't spell Brian without the N in nincompoop, right? You get where I'm going with this. So in any event, I walked over and finished helping the Yellow Jacket, because the Yellow Jackets were doing a hell of a job pushing the golf ball up out of the ground, right? Just right up out of the ground. Well, I went over to help them. Yeah, but they weren't terribly interested in my help, right? They didn't need me contributing to them removing the golf ball. And to show me how much they didn't need my help, I think by the time I finally ran home, got to my mom took me to the emergency room. I had been stung over 300 times. They were really not a fan of the new golf game. I had been stung multiple times, multiple on top of multiple times. And I got to the emergency room, and my mom's covered. Everyone that tried to help me is now stung. But I was the poster child for what it's like to be swarmed long before there were killer hornets or the Mexican hunting bees or Africanized bees or whatever. These were just ticked off yellow jackets of the garden variety type. And they had stung me to such a degree that to date, I'm still allergic to bees, right? Supposed to carry that little atropine, right, in case I get stung. So you're going, Bri, how does this have to do, bless you, Wayne, how does this have to do with challenging your grit, tapping your grit, releasing your natural resources. Well, years later, and still now petrified of bees, right? I mean, just scared to death of bees. I don't like bees. Ashley kills bees for me. Up until this point, Ashley killed bees for me because I'm like, look, I'll take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 burglars, bad guys kicking in the front door at night. I got them. You sit here, roll over, relax, right? Don't pay attention to all the loud noises. Well, I'll take care of this. But when it comes to bees, I don't even mind spiders, really. Snakes don't bug me. Alligators, you get it. But bees, I always have to call Ashley, and she comes in and takes care of them for me. So years later, they decide, oh, Brian, well, while you're here on Wudong Mountain in China, did you ever think you should go live in a cave with the resident monk? And I go, live in a cave? I don't know, but I'd at least like to go meet and see the resident monk. And everyone in the party's like, wow, that's a great idea. Let's go and see him. So we hike right, because it's a cave, it's on a mountain, there's going to be some hiking involved. We hike and hike and hike to get up to this cave. Nicest guy in the world, all smiles. As I remember, not a lot of teeth, but all smiles, constantly bowing, thrilled, as you would be, I suspect, right? If you lived in a cave and you didn't I don't imagine you get many visitors. It's not like there's a cul-de-sac of caves in this area, right? So you're probably thrilled to get a visitor. So we go up there. And we have the afternoon plan. Turned out to be longer than that, but we have the afternoon plan. We're going to meet some other monks. We're going to do some other things. We're going to tour the mountain. We're going to see everything. And then as like the final sauce, right? Like you have an enchilada and you pull the pepper sauce over it. This is the whipped cream on the pumpkin pie if you celebrated Thanksgiving. This is going to be it. We're going to get to tour the cave. So we're busy doing everything we can to survey the mountain. And I keep looking up and going, come on. I love it. It's a mountain. There's some trees. Yes, the monkeys try to steal everything that isn't glued down from your pack. And chestnuts fall back to earth like a high-powered rifle. Not like everyone running around assault rifles with the 223 rounds. We're talking about 30-06 rounds, right? Real weapons. Not these little petty people wanting to play army with machine guns. We're talking about hunting rifles, like 30-06s. And when their brand of chestnuts fall from the trees up there, they fall like you need a football helmet, right? You just got to be careful from these things. So in any event, I'm looking forward to being in the cave and getting out of the direct line of fire of all of these chestnuts or whatever they were, right? Leaving the trees, plummeting back to earth. So we get up to the cave, and lo and behold, Wayne, you'll never guess what the monk that lives in a cave, you'll never guess what his welcome mat was. You'll never guess what he used as his main source of sweetening the different things he was going to eat.
Probably the same things being thrown down on your head.
No, that's a good one. That's fair. No, it would have been nice, right? Chestnuts roasting on the open fire and all that. That's very funny, actually. No, it wasn't chestnuts. He decided he would use honey. So I get up to the front entrance, and the cameras and everyone that's there with me, right? Here's the big meeting. I get to meet the monk. I go right up, and just to the right of his front door, right? To the right, as you head in, to his left coming out, just to the left was a beehive, a freaking beehive. Bees buzzing all around. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You couldn't have a tiger? You couldn't have some really just ticked off monkeys? You could, right? This is the thing that you use to guard the gate of the cave, a beehive. And I'm thinking, yeah, of course it is, right? The second time I have cultivated the term Irish luck, don't believe the hype. Okay, we're going to run to a quick break. I'll tell you what happens when we come back and how it continues with me to this day. Wayne? You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show, and thank you for jumping on here at RadioBri.com. Yes, thank you so very much for jumping on here at RadioBri.com. Wayne, we might as well go ahead. I know you want to open the phone lines. We might as well get that done so we can get all the numbers out and whatnot, and then I'll get on to tell you what happened at the cave.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
Mortal One, Bill, thank you very much. Also, don't forget, you can scratch it out, 833-667-8251. Wayne, thank you very much. Put it up here in the feed over on Facebook, a.k.a. Mug Pamphlet, in case we get in trouble. But this was an opportune time to thank everyone for listening on YouTube, here on Facebook. And then if you're catching it, thank you very much. Just you. Thank you very much for listening on Spotify, iTunes, or iHeartRadio, wherever you get the rebroadcast of the show. Thank you very much. And, of course, you can get it, as Wayne reminds me, the numbers keep growing every day over at RadioBry.com. Just type in RadioBry.com, and you can get the show. Thanks to Wayne's brilliance, you can get the show, you can get the video, you can get the audio. And if you're taking us along for the ride, I love riding shotgun. I really do. I love being your virtual hitchhiker. You can drop us right in the cup holder. Just plug it in. Tap it up, whatever you do on an iPhone, a personal phone, a portable phone, whatever the kids call them these days, Wayne. Whatever you do, tap us up, RadioBry.com, and take us along with you. All right, so here's the scoop. I get to the entrance of the cave, and it's swarming. Bees everywhere. And I'm scared it doesn't even have to be a yellow jacket. If it's got wings and it's got a stinger, well, I don't do well around it. So everyone around, it had to be clear. My face probably turned red. My pulse was racing. Everybody around me is like, you okay? Are you okay? Expecting me to go, yeah, one of those chestnuts caught me right in the top of the head. It almost knocked me out. But no, that wasn't it. And I said, yeah, I've got this thing about bees. And the monk comes up, almost as if, now he didn't speak English. So I imagine the interpreter was there to tell him what was going on. But he went to shake my hand, gripped the bottom of my hand as he shook. And then he pulled me towards him. And he pulled my hand towards this beehive. Now, my pulse is like 280. I'm going to vapor lock. I'm going to have a heart attack right on the spot. He pulls my hand further. He kind of blades, right? He moves to his left, which pulls my arm to the left. And he sticks my hand right up against. Now I'm right. I don't know what to do. I want to be respectful. So I'm not going to pull away. So I kind of squint. I close one eye. I reach in. And he pulls my hand right up to the edge of the beehive. Couple bees land on my hand, and he just looks at me. Bees walk around. Reminds me of a time we were in Arizona and a tarantula crossed my arm, but we'll save that for another day. Bees walking around on my hands, and he smiles at me, and I slowly pull my hand away. He lets go. I pull my hand away. The bees fly away, and I didn't get stung because the whole time I'm thinking, great. Just like everything I brought to China, I didn't bring the atropine. Fantastic. Good job, Bri. What's the chance they're going to airlift you out of here in the middle of nowhere, China? So I didn't bring the atropine, but that was my first inclination of bringing your own grit. And what the monk taught me in that particular moment was that you have to have courage. You have to bring your own grit, even with something that's been with you as long as your allergies to bees. You got to mortal up and bring your own grit. Now, a quick little caveat to the story, and then we got to run. But years later, my kids and Ashley and I decided we were going to go to an all-natural farm. They wanted, they grew no pesticides, no this and no that. And we get there, and sure enough, isn't there another beehive? Only seen, other than the one in the ground when I was little, only other been close to two beehives in my entire life. Why, of course, going to this farm, they had a huge beehive. And, the owner wanted to show everyone how good it was. Here's some honey. Would you like a fresh taste? This and that and everything else. And to show my kids that you had to bring your own grit, to show my kids that you had to face your fear, to show my kids you got to do it. Even though you may not want to, you got to do it. You got to square your shoulders with fate. You got to throw yourself into the fray. I go, just like them, and I reach towards the beehive nice and slow. Lo and behold, Wayne, don't I get stung? Don't I get stung? So here I am saying, okay, bring your grit, bring your grit, bring your grit. I get stung right on the eyebrow by one of these little bees. But I will tell you, it came full circle for me then. It wasn't going to kill me, right? I was able to get to the Benadryl that I needed. I was able to get everything that I needed out of the encounter. But it taught my kids, even when literally, deathly afraid of bees, you do what you can. You put your back against the wall and you say to fate, is that all you brought? Because I brought my grit. And whatever you bring against me bringing my grit, you automatically lose. Because human beings, when they bring their own grit, when they bring their natural resources, they are unstoppable. Don't forget, you can give us a call, 833-MORTAL, mortal, and then the numeral 1, or 833-667-8251. You can text us as well. It comes right in here to the studios. Big Bill, nice to see you. Thank you so very much. I'll look forward to catching up with you right after the show. Also, thank you to Rick, who sent us some information. Wayne and I will be talking about that in future episodes. Thank you so very much. If you have information, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to share this, but like the old Life cereal commercial. Hey, let's get Mikey. He'll try anything. Well, send it. Chances are pretty good. Wayne will doctor it up, make a slide out of it, right? And then we'll talk about it on the show. So thank you so very much for the email. I'm looking forward to diving into that. We'll definitely make sure that happens. So if you have something that you want to hear about on the show, don't forget radiobry.com. You can also reach me through Brian at radiobry.com. You can reach Wayne at radiobry.com. All right, Wayne, what are we up to first today?
Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today.
Let's see. I can't wait, Wayne. Oh, who is this? Who is this guy? He's got a nice tie. I like that. Nice shirt. Michael B. Hancock. I was stationed at Hancock Field in New York. So what's this all about? Oh, Michael B. Hancock is the mayor of Denver. Oh, he's today's lowlifes making headlines. And don't forget, he gets a suitable for framing plaque. As soon as we get the address, we'll bang it right out to him. Asked people to avoid traveling for Thanksgiving here in the States. Then he hops a flight to Mississippi to spend the holiday with his wife and daughter. All right, so Wayne, just so we're clear on this, he's getting the Lowlifes Making Headlines Awards for today because it's a little more of the what's good for me is not good for thee. It just drives me crazy. Talk about childhood. Do as I say, not as I do. So the mayor of Denver gets caught. Well, I would have liked to travel to Mississippi. I like Mississippi. I one time had to do a deployment to Gulfport, Mississippi. Very nice place. I love Mississippi. I would have liked to get on the plane with my wife and one of my daughters, all of my kids. I would have liked to have got on a plane and flown to Mississippi. But wait a minute, Wayne. So you're telling me Michael Hancock tells everyone, don't you dare. We got to get on top of this Wuhan wheeze. There's no way you can afford to go. You got to hunker down. Be scared. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Right? We're going to do this. But he gets to get on a plane and fly wherever the hell he wants. Well, is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah. The funny thing is he went ahead and he told all the people in Denver not to travel, not to travel, not to travel. As soon as he got through with his speech, he headed to the airport.
Well, look, you want to wait right up to the very last minute, right? I applaud him as a public servant. He's busy doing everything he can right up until the moment he breaks his own rules.
Yep.
In true public servant form, here you are, Michael B. Hancock, caught flying to Mississippi when he told everybody else to ground themselves. And that's why he wins today's Lowlifes Making Headlines. Well, let's hope it was a good trip. Let's hope the stuffing was good, Wayne. You know what I mean? Because he's got to be my God, let's hope they gave him a to-go. And can you even bring turkey on an airplane? Like if he got plenty of to-go to bring back with him, hopefully he was allowed to get it on the plane and he didn't have to give it all to the TSA square badges over at the checkpoints. Maybe not. I don't know. All right, Wayne, it's 20 after. The mic is yours. You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. And thank you for hanging out with me here at radiobry.com. Yes, let me say thank you so very much for hanging out with us here at radiobry.com. Also, you can give us an email, Brian at radiobry.com, or, of course, 833-MORTAL, and the numeral 1, because you're number 1 in our book, 833-667-8251. You can call us. You can text us. Whatever you'd like to do to get in here, either to Studio South or Studio North. I guess, Wayne, we're both locked down. Whether you say Michigan or Ohio, we're both under lockdown. So tomato, but in either studio, you can get straight in with that security code, 833-MORTAL, and the numeral 1, 833-667-8251. All right, Wayne, what do we got queued up for our listeners next?
The truth instead of reporting the facts? Why, I oughta. Instead, let me just congratulate you. You're today's contestant on Jousting with Journalists.
And I love this picture of Jousting from Journalists because the reporter from Playboy is the one not wearing a tie. Very Hugh Hefner-like, Wayne. You know what I mean? I'm surprised he doesn't show up to the press conferences in a silk robe, right? Pajamas, maybe some flip-flops. Oh, and there's little Jimmy accosted over there with his finger up in the air. Oh, I have a point to make. Notice everyone else is raising their hands, but little Jimmy's got one finger. Oh, I've got a point to make. All right, Wayne, so who are we picking a fight? Or I should say, who picked a fight with us first, right? Because we don't instigate this, Wayne. Jousting with Journalists isn't our fault if they behave themselves, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So who picked a fight with us? Who's our winner for today? Oh, let me see here. Jousting with Journalists. Facebook adds warnings of fake news. It's time to fact check the Facebook fact checkers. So let me get this straight. I know, Wayne, that you're familiar with everything going on with Candace Owens and how she won her first challenge. She got the fact checkers, the modern day book burners. I have to tell you, Wayne, it's why I believe now in reincarnation, right? Yeah. Because these same fact checkers were the people that 100 years, 150 years ago, thereabouts, were busy burning books, burning witches at the stake. I think it really is. I think they've reincarnated and they're now fact checkers. But Candace Owens, I saw this little report, Wayne, that she says, I'm 8 months pregnant. I don't get a chance to mix it up a lot. So guess what she did, Wayne?
She filed a lawsuit.
She sent her attorneys to mix it up with the little fact checkers over at Mug Pamphlet. And I get, is it true USA Today as well? So did she go after the fact checkers for defamation? And they caved, didn't they? They caved like a fresh-baked cruller. Well, they caved when they were threatened with a defamation lawsuit.
Well, not only did they cave, they admitted that they lie.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Because she sued them for defamation.
I love it. Oh, kitten, it'll be okay. Don't worry. Oh, so they got sued. So now they had to tuck their tails and run like the book burners that they are. But let me ask you this question. More importantly, Jousting with Journalists, Wayne, I think you made a mistake here because Facebook isn't a news. It's a platform, right, brother? So Facebook isn't a news agency. Facebook would never decide to selectively edit, right? Facebook would never decide to act like something other than a posting board, right? Because of their 230 protections. The last thing Facebook or Mug Pamphlet, any of the other ones would do would be act like a news agency. So you sure this is correct?
Yes, because what they do is they're fact checkers. They hire USA Today. And they hire Lead Stories LLC to do their fact checking.
Well, now let me just throw the people at USA Yesterday, the book burners reincarnated to work at USA Today. Let me just throw them under the bus as well. Lead Stories, which is interesting because the Lead Stories logo is a red arrow, but it's a red arrow coming from the left. Isn't that kind of strange? Isn't that how they did it? Wait, just a little bit how they did it? Lead Stories. Well, in any event, they are our winners for today with the Jousting with Journalists because here's the deal. Wayne is right to say, well, they're a winner. Well, wait a minute. If you're a platform, because news agencies have different types of protections, right, Wayne? Because of 230.
Well, right now they all have those protections.
They all have those protections. So Facebook isn't supposed to be acting like this. They're supposed to be a platform where we can come, pay, and people get to come on and post whatever they want. They don't get to do that anymore, do they?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out.
Well, did you tell everyone last week that we got banned for about 35 seconds on Mug Pamphlet until you... Well, listen, you were just like Candace Owens. Now that I think about it, Wayne, you stood up to the fact checkers and you were like, oh, hell no. And you got them to reinstate Counterpunch Media.
Well, I basically just went back and said, you tell me what's factually wrong.
What's factually wrong? And they were like, oh, please don't call Candace. Did you tell them we have Candace's personal phone number? We text her whenever things go south on us. Oh, we'll text Candace. That's what I'm going to say from now on. Keep it up, you little book-burning, right? communist, leftist, whatever you think you are, right?
Yeah.
We're going to text Candace. That's what I'm going to do, right? Instead of like having holy water or a little cross, a little amulet, I'm going to keep Candace's number right on my phone. I might make it my screensaver. So the next time some of these little book burners step step out of line, I can just text Candace, right?
Well, basically what she's saying, I mean, she had posted something about the COVID number.
All right.
And they came back and flagged it as, you could still see the post, but they flagged it as false.
So just like us.
So when she filed her lawsuit, she filed for defamation because they were calling her a liar.
Well, that was just like, see, I wish I had that. I wish I had the money to have attorneys go, we're going to file a defamation lawsuit, right? Yeah. I wish I had that kind of money, because then we could have done it when they took our Spectre. Remember the Spectre news report about masks not working?
Yep.
I don't think Spectre ever picked a fight with them, but they blocked that as false, fake news. So you're damn right. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So let's take tomorrow off. Let's not do let's not do episode. What would tomorrow's episode be, Wayne? Let me see. 548. Let's not do episode 548 so I can see what it takes to sue Facebook and USA Today and load a boatload of stories, a boatload, whatever that is, whatever that company is, see if we can't sue them. So we'll take tomorrow's show off, and then we'll report back either Wednesday and Thursday on how that defamation lawsuit is going. What say you?
Let's do it.
I love that idea. I have an attorney. I could call him and go, hey, do you want to make a name for yourself? Let's go after him. Let's sue him. Enough already, right? Which would be a great segue for us to talk about the Mortal Up Alliance. We've got a lot of cool things coming, but we'll save that for a little bit later in the week. If you want to check up, kind of like, and here's the reason why I'm calling it a manifesto, Wayne. Do you know why?
I have no idea. All I did was saw the change yesterday.
Oh, yeah, because everybody and their brother is all worked up about Karl Marx. And, along with his boyfriend, Ingalls, they were the authors. Good friend. I'm not saying boyfriend, probably a good friend, right? But they were the ones that authored the Communist Manifesto. And now, since a lot of the people here in this country seem to love leftism, seem to love the sense of communism, right? Seem to be running around going, oh, it sucks here in this country. We can't have a democracy. And that's another thing, Wayne. And I know I'm watching the clock, so we can't get into this. Stop saying democracy. Everybody, we do not have a democracy. We do not, repeat after me, we do. Now, I know we don't have a democracy. I know we live in a republic, but we do not live in a democracy. So with all the people screaming, what about our democracy? What about our democracy? What about our democracy? We've never had one. We are a republic. Majority doesn't rule here in this country. Democracy. I'm sick of hearing people scream democracy. It's like people screaming, science. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't live in a democracy. So knock it off. That's all I'm saying. But in any event, a part of why I'm calling it the manifesto over at RadioBride.com is that, great, Karl Marx gets to write the Communist Manifesto. Well, I'm going to write the Mortal Up Manifesto. And for the people that don't like it, and no, that was not a sound effect. That was real, right? So for the people that don't like it, well, Karl Marx and Engels get a manifesto. So now I get a manifesto to kind of beat back all the crap weasels that want to adopt leftism as something to aspire to in this country. All right, Wayne, I know it's the bottom of the hour. You want the mic back? We will be, it's like 15 seconds. We'll be right back. I'll take a quick sip of tea. You're listening to the Brian Brawdy Show here at RadioBride.com. And thank you for inviting us into your day. Whoa, you're listening to RadioBride.com. And we meant that. Thank you so very much for having us today, because there's all kinds of things you could be doing today. It's snowing where Wayne and I live. There's all kinds of things you could be doing. But thank you so much for spending it with us. We were talking just before the break about why we now get to call it a manifesto. What? Only the communists get a manifesto? Right? Which is, listen, right? I got to start writing these things. We need to run a show, Wayne, that, right? I'll run a show like bordered with something sharp, something that will, right? Something that will cause a nasty paper cut, right? And which, to quote the late John Candy, and it's a nasty cut that could lead to an infection. We need to run a show here that we stick to, because here's something else I have to mention before we go. All these people up in the arms, was it, and Wayne, you can tell me, as you often do when I'm wrong, was it Random House? Is that the name of the publisher in Canada? right? Now that Don Lemon is pronouncing his name Lemon, Don Lemon, is Canada pronounced Canada? Right? I don't even know how it is. But in any event, they have a Random House. Is that the name of the publisher that everyone was throwing themselves from the rooftops? Everyone was crying. Everyone was threatening to quit over the Jordan Peterson book.
Yes.
All right. So all these brittle brains atop balsa wood spines. And I know, right, there's a time to everything. You can't have lowlifes making headline. You can't have dozens of them every day. Although we could return, right, to the Maleficent 7 someday. But here you got all these brittle brains atop balsa wood spines going, oh, I'm so sorry. This is just horrible. I can't believe we're actually gonna publish Jordan Peterson's book. I'm just beside myself. I don't know what to think next. And you know what I found fascinating?
What's that?
Guess what other book they published?
Which one?
Mein Kampf. Now, before all the haters start, don't forget you can send hate mail to wayne@radiobride.com. I don't want to read that crap. Who wants to read that crap? No, I'm just kidding. I love your hate mail. I love watching a human brain explode. I love, right? Apoplectic. The more, the merrier. So please send your hate mail, right? Send it right away to brian@radiobride.com. That's another one that wasn't a sound effect. Please send it, right? Because I print them all off, Wayne. I don't know if you know this, but I print all the hate mail off. And if there's ever a point where I'm heading into the John and I'm looking for something to read and I'm already read through the New York Times, I take hate mail with me. I actually have a plastic clipboard and I take it right in with me. So please keep the hate mail coming. But here's the thing. So I've read Mein Kampf. You got to know your enemy, right? People go, oh, I can't believe you've read Mein Kampf. Okay, well, guess what other book they published there? So everyone is worked up about Jordan Peterson's next book, which, the first one was kind of long and I listened to it and I read it. So I'm not sitting on the edge of my seat for his second book, but I am now, right? Just like listening to Joe Rogan's podcast when the goats over at Spotify were all, excuse me, that tea gets me right in my sternum, right? All the people over at Spotify clucking and complaining, right? Carrying on about Joe Rogan's podcast. Maybe those people at Spotify should team up. They could go over to Lead Stories. Maybe, Wayne, they could work for USA Today as fact checkers for Mug Pamphlet. Maybe the people from Random House Canada should team up, right, with the reincarnated witch burners over to Lead Stories and USA Today. And they should team up with the people at Spotify that are all worked up about the corporate's policies. Oh, we can't. Our sensitive ears aren't. We're delicate as doilies. We tell you, damn it, we're delicate as doilies. We can't have that happening here.
But just remember though, at the end of the day, Random House is not backing down.
Good. I say they fired them. Listen, here's another thing. If we're taking tomorrow off so we can sue Mug Pamphlet. And if we take Wednesday off, I'm driving to Random House, wherever it is, and I'll go, great, fire 6 of them, and I'll take their jobs. Fire the 6 reincarnated book burners. Yeah, but I can't live in Canada in the winter. It's hard enough living there in the summertime, Wayne. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, I love it when I'm up for a winter adventure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. Just like Alaska. I'm not saying that. But that's what I would do. And go, look, just pick the 6 reincarnated witch burners. Who are we kidding? We know I have a greater IQ than 6 of them combined, so let's just stop the baloney. All right? A little bit of breaking news. Let's just stop the baloney. Right, exactly. Thank you very much. Let's just stop the baloney from the 6 reincarnated book burners at Random House. There's no way. You want to compare brain pans? Good luck. Bring lunch. You're going to need it. So maybe that's what we'll do Wednesday. We'll sue Mug Pamphlet and USA Today and Lead Stories tomorrow. And then Wednesday, I'll go and apply for a job of like an entire staff, like an entire portion of the staff at Random House, and we'll go from there. All right, I think I'm back. I'm better. I got my spritzer. I got my tea, although it's making me a little gassy today. All right, Wayne, what is our next segment? Return to vendor, because some DNA just needs to go back. And you got to know, Wayne, next to the Mortal Up Minute, return to vendor is closest to my heart, right? People go, oh, are you saying you're pro-death penalty? Yes. Oh, no. And what I'm saying is over the weekend, I was going to try to get the sound effect of a chainsaw, right? And I forgot it. People still call me and say to me,
Well, you know, James Spader in the Blacklist, he stole your idea about using a wood chipper. That's all I'm saying. I had friends call me, Wayne, to tell me that Red in my favorite show, right? The Blacklist, he was using a wood chipper to get rid of certain people. So, but I don't think if I got the sound effect of a wood chipper, I don't think a lot of people would know what that is. But I'll bet you they'll know what a chainsaw is. So, yes, I'm a huge fan of the death penalty. Now, let me see. Oh, apparently I'm also a fan today of people with all kinds of a very, very, very long name. So, Fernando de Jesus Lopez Garcia, right? Is that how it's pronounced? Fernando de Jesus Lopez Garcia.
Yes.
An illegal alien, previously deported 3 times. So, Wayne, can I ask you a question? And then we'll get on with what you want to talk about. He's got a violent criminal record, has been charged with a double murder after allegedly going on a stabbing spree in San Jose, California at a Baptist church, right? So let me get back to my question. So everyone's up in arms because police officers have qualified immunity, right? I say we do away with qualified immunity across the board. Across the board. Nobody else, no one in this country gets qualified immunity. You're the politician that decided it was a good idea not to keep deported people. Oh, geez, Wayne, I don't know. Not to keep deported people. I got an idea. How about deported? This stroke has been deported 3 times. So I say we hold the politicians responsible. No more qualified immunity for politicians. None. Zero. Zilch. Zippo. Q2 chainsaws. No qualified immunity. So if you're the politician that thought it was a good idea to enact a rule for the rest of us to follow, that it was okay to deport and then re-import. Who are you, like Kerry? John Kerry, when he ran for president, the flip-flopping? Well, first I was for the war before I was against it. So, right? So we go after the politicians, go, no more qualified immunity. You get to sue. Don't make me call Candace. You damn well you know I will. Don't make me call Candace. I got her right here on speed dial. But I say we start going after the politicians that thought this was a good idea. Let's see how much little Chucky Schumer wants to change the country then, when we get to start going after them and charging them as contributing, right, as an accomplice. I say we use RICO. We use the RICO statute to go after them, just like you would organized crime. And whoever's responsible for letting this guy, whoever was responsible for creating the laws that weren't good on, that didn't want anyone to stay deported once they had been deported 3 times, we charge them as an accessory after them. You know, Wayne, like, right, if you're getting ready to do a robbery, the guy driving the car may have not have held the handgun, but he's still charged with the robbery just as if he held the handgun. So I say we get the politicians and we charge them just like they were driving the getaway car, because they were driving this guy's getaway car.
It's basically the leaders, the politicians that are over any one of the cities that are sanctuary goals.
There you go. So Santa Clara County Jail ignored an Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's called ICE, detainer. So I say we charge them all. Find these people at the Sarah Clowney, whatever their clowns are at that jail, who ignored the customs, the ICE detainer. Find out who they are and charge them as accessories after the fact. That's what I say. That's why I say every day, Wayne, how many times a day do I say to you, you better hope I never make it as president of this country, because there'd be a different dawn the day after I swore. All right, Wayne, I know it's 20 till. You need the mic. You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show, and thank you for clicking over to RadioBri.com. That's right. Thank you so very much for clicking over, hanging out with us here on The Brian Brawdy Show, home of RadioBri.com. We were going over all kinds of things today. Just to recap, we went over me being swarmed by bees when I was little. Then we got into lowlifes making headlines, politicians telling you, you better hunker down. But then they hit the friendly skies, right? Right? They're all, Wayne, adopting the Southwest Airlines. Feel free to move about the country, right? But not for us. The political class, feel free to move about the country, but not you and me, Wayne. Mm-hmm. We'd end up in the Hooskow, in the Slammer. We'd end up fined, if not arrested, because we broke their rules. We didn't obey their rules. We didn't obey the rules. We didn't do it, Wayne. So we're going to jail. That's right. Oh, that's right. We're heading right to the slaughter like turkeys the night before Thanksgiving. All right, Wayne, I know we're in that segment. What's our next little thing we have?
Well, I'm trying to decide.
All right, well, flip a coin and let us know. Oh, yeah, I don't have the sound. Oh, let's try this sound. Maybe this will work. Yeah.
All right, let's try this one. See if we can spark some thoughts.
All right, that's Wayne's. That's the music for Wayne when he's thinking about what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to. Oh, okay. So now let me assume for a minute. Wayne's been working on this one. Oh, so I needed a drum roll, and then I needed the short drum roll for something Wayne's getting ready to drop. All right, Wayne's getting ready to drop a new logo. So what do we got here? I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God, all the way down to the bottom. All right, so here's the question we're posing. Active duty, reservists, National Guard, veterans, whatever it is. Just pretend for a moment. China's a free country, right? And I know it's a stretch, but we're into fairy tales today, apparently, right? Somebody just voted a guy in that's been a politician for 47 years. So we're in the fairy tale. Just go with it. So we have an active duty. This is going out, right, to everyone that's ever sworn an oath. Now, you're going to pretend that China is a free country. It's hard to even get past that portion of the sentence without laughing, right? But in any event, let me just do this. I'll read it with one eye. Pretend that China was a free country with a constitution the same as the United States. Now, pretend you were a citizen of China, right, and a member of their military, which you probably have to be a member of the Communist Party to be a member of their military. But let's just suppose for a minute, right, you're a regular folk, right, regular person in China, and you're also a member of the military. Now, pretend that there's political and other groups in China where gradually eliminating the rights of the people spelled out in that constitution. Oh, so you mean like, right, in any of the things going on now in Hong Kong, Taiwan, that kind of thing. Which, let me just say this, Wayne. It's seeing that we're onto this. Everyone's all excited about Tom Cruise and the second Top Gun movie. It's called Maverick. Have you heard about it?
Yep.
Everyone's excited about it, except guess who?
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it either. Okay, so guess what? Two people aren't excited about it. Right? And you know why I'm not excited? Well, look, I love planes. I love blowing crap up. How am I doing so far? I haven't slipped and cussed at all. I love blowing crap up, right? I love going after bad guys. You got it. And it's got an awesome soundtrack, great audio, great music, right? But guess why I think Tom Cruise should be a lowlife making headlines winner one of the very next times we come back.
Why is that?
Oh, maybe you didn't know this, but he caved. And when he goes in and he pulls his leather jacket on to get near the motorcycle so he can race down the runway up against like one of the fighter jets, he pulls on that jacket. Well, did you know that in this second movie, now the movie is set to go back in time. He goes back, he pulls the tarp off his motorcycle, right? Forget about changing the oil on it all these years. Doesn't matter. It's Tom Cruise. He can do whatever he wants, right? You ever seen a Mission Impossible? Talk about a fairy tale. Talk about the government having a free folk. Forget about that. So here's what happened. He goes to whip off this jacket, and the Chinese government made him remove the flag of Taiwan from his jacket. Now, let me get this straight. People will say, well, Brian, he needed the Chinese government to support the bankroll to fund his movie. With all of the movies this boy has been in, are you telling me he couldn't have said to the Chinese government, the hell with you, I'll fund it myself? But no, he caves. Just like LeBron James, he caves, turning his back on regular folk. This one, turning his back on the people of Taiwan by removing that flag because the people in China, the people in power, not the people in China, but the people in power, the Chinese Communist Party. There's a huge difference, right, Wayne? We forget all the time. There's a difference. Like in this country, you may not be a Republican or a Democrat, but you're still a member of the country, but you may not be a part of the political party in charge. And believe me, the CCP is in charge over there. That's why I vote for Tom Cruise being the next lowlife making headlines, because he caved. He gave in to the propaganda. All right, so let's throw the graphic back up on screen. So you're in China. You're a member of their country. They've already smacked Tom Cruise around to make sure that he didn't have the flag of Taiwan on his jacket. Now, pretend the citizens of China began a revolt to protect their rights, spelled out in the Constitution. It'd be spelled out just like ours. Would you stand and support the citizens, right, that are revolting, trying to protect and defend their Constitution? Would you stand for it? Would you go, wow, you know what? We have something similar in our country. And you go, well, in our country, I don't know about you all over there in China, but in our country, what's called the UCMJ actually, but the Uniform Code of Military Justice makes it clear that military personnel need to obey the lawful command of a superior officer. And it later goes on to say that the lawful order of a warrant officer. Now, the lawful general order, they have an obligation if it's illegal. Now, it says the lawful general order is known as the lawful order. In the case, military personnel have the obligation and the duty to only obey lawful order, and indeed have an obligation to disobey unlawful orders, including orders by the president that do not comply with the UCMJ. The moral and legal obligation of the U.S. Constitution is not to those who would issue unlawful orders, especially if those orders are in direct violation of the Constitution and by extension, right, the Bill of Rights. We all know that, right? Without the Bill of Rights, there'd be no Constitution. But in direct violation of the Constitution and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So, having all that said, would you root for the people in China that have said, no, our government is out of control? They're absolutely nuts. Would you root for them to then go, yeah, it's an unlawful order, I'm not doing it? How about you, Wayne? Who would you root for in that scenario?
The people.
The people.
Absolutely.
So for everyone going, well, wait a minute, here in this country, maybe other people don't know that you have an obligation, you have a duty to refuse an unlawful order if it goes south of the Constitution or the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So everyone's ready. Everyone's excited. Everyone's thrilled to be saying, well, the Chinese people, they should do it. But, oh, wait a minute. How about the person? How about the person in the mirror? How about the person that swore the oath? And I wrote over the weekend a lot about that oath. How about those folks? What do you think they should do? Right? It's clear. It's in the texts. I don't believe Wayne would make it up. They have an obligation to ignore and to disobey unlawful. Drop us a line, Brian@RadioBride.com, or, of course, Wayne@RadioBride.com. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think. And also, you can still send us a text, 833-667-8251, 833-667-8251. In the last 10 minutes, the phone lines are closed. But you can still text us, 833-667-8251, or you can drop us an email. Let us know what you think. But we're busy going, yeah, I think the Chinese people, they need to rise up. Wait a minute. Well, they need to rise up, right? They need to rise up, Wayne.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the rest of us, right? When it comes to, well, wait a minute. If it's good for them, why isn't it, right? What's going on here? Why do you think that idea, Wayne, is falling on deaf ears?
Well, again, the intent of that graphic was basically just to create thought.
Right.
For people that have taken that oath. I know I've taken that oath a few times.
Yep.
For the different branches and the different levels of service I went into. I know you've taken it.
Multiple times?
Multiple times, not only for your military service, but also when you were a police officer.
Yes, sir.
I know Congress takes something similar.
Ooh, okay.
It doesn't refer to the UCMJ, but they take basically a similar oath.
A similar oath. The president
Every
has
member
to.
of Congress. The president, everyone does. If you're in government. So it's just basically when you look at everything going on around the world today,
right?
Basically just to get some thought out there.
All right. I think it's a great graphic and a great thought, right? Because here we are. It's always easier. So in other words, Wayne, you're just asking people not to be like the mayor of Denver, not to be like the governor of California. Don't say someone else should do one thing and you plan on doing another. Just take some personal responsibility. Was that what you were getting at?
Yeah. It's sort of like a take on that. I don't know if you've ever seen that show on TV, What Would You Do?
No.
There's a show on TV called What Would You? And it just takes different scenarios within society that's going on today.
All right.
To see if people just sitting by would just stand there and let things go, or they would open their mouths.
Oh, interesting. I had someone at a Stop and Rob the other day tell me, oh, you know what, Brian? You're just like those four friends that get online and they have a show, I guess. I didn't even know this show. They have a show where three of them are in one guy's earpiece and they send them out in the public and they're going, okay, do this, do this, do this, do this. And he has to do exactly what they say, regardless of how embarrassing it is. So I'll have to look to watch both of those shows. Nancy, thank you very much. Shauna, if you're listening, thank you very much.
That show's on MTV.
The suggestion. I'm sorry?
That show is on MTV.
Oh, that show's on.
I watch it all the time. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
you watch it all the time. See, you got to text me if you would. You know where to send the text, 833-667-8251. Text me to the name of that show, and we'll watch it. All right, Wayne, we've got about 6 minutes, let's say, left. We have time for another segment, or because you were conflicted. You didn't know which one you were going to do, as I remember a few minutes ago. So you have another segment queued? Should we try to do that one, get it in, or what do you want to do?
I think we're going into the Mortal Up Minute.
The Mortal Up Minute. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Prepare yourself.
I am.
It's yours.
It's mine, the Mortal Up Minute. Here we go. We're talking in this show. It's the title, To Bring Your Grit. And I think what happens is you and I at times, maybe, I don't know about you, but I certainly know about me, we don't want to rock the boat, right? We'd rather just get along. And because of that philosophy, oh no, don't make waves. Just try to get through. And I think what happens is when you don't make waves, you end up in a situation where your own gut goes, wait a minute, why? You could bring your grit. You know they're going to back down. Why are you the one backing down from using your own grit? There's a shelf life on your reservoir of grit. It's called death. And you're going to be, the Grim Reaper's on his way. So why not employ your grit? Why not do everything you can full on to tap your natural resources, bring them into the light of day, and start squaring your shoulders with whatever fate throws at you? Just as I had to square my shoulders when we talked about the beehive, the entrance to the cave in Wudong Mountain in China. What would happen, do you suspect, if you just tomorrow morning got up and said, you know what, he's insane. Brian is clearly insane. But, and given the whole thing with the chainsaw during the return to vendor, we think he's a psychopath, right? So he's insane and he's a psychopath. So please keep the hate mail coming. But suppose just for a minute, you put all that behind you. All that, right? All that psychopath stuff. Well, he said he watches the Blacklist. Who roots for a bad guy anymore, right? You watch Batman. Why don't you? Who wouldn't root for the Joker? I'm just saying, right, Wayne? Right? Especially when Michael Keaton. I have a problem with the same actor that plays Beetlejuice playing Batman. That's all I'm saying. Of course you root for the bad guy. But what would you do tomorrow morning if you got up and said, today's the day I'm going to bring my grit? What do you think would be different? We talk all the times about 20-minute victories. 1/72, 1/72. 1/72 of your day, just for 20 minutes, what would happen? Should you decide to bring your own grit? Or as we call it around here, BYOB, bring your own bold. Because in the end, it's the same thing. Grit, bold, tomato, tomato. What would be different in your life if we were to hook up again on Wednesday now, because we'll be busy tomorrow trying to sue Mug Pamphlet and USN Today and Lead Stories. So not tomorrow, but the next day, what do you think? What could you call in about? What could you write about? What could you text us about? Where you go, hey, I listened to you, sound a little crazy, but I took 20 minutes. I took 1/72 of my day, and I did nothing more than bring my own grit. I'm telling you, your life would be totally different after that 20 minutes. You would remember how unstoppable you truly are. And that's our Mortal Up Minute for today. All right, Wayne, I want to thank everybody on Facebook, most certainly over on YouTube. Thank you for the growing numbers. Thank you for everyone on iHeart, iTunes, and Spotify. We're thrilled to have you here. And, of course, thank you very much for joining us at RadioBride.com. If you took us in the car, you took us to run errands, you took us while you were out and about, we're absolutely thrilled to ride along. Right? Like your dog, when you let the dog in the passenger seat of the front window and you roll down the windows like a dog, just thrilled to have wind flopping his ears back, wind blowing through his jowls, smack his tongue all over the place. We love riding along just as much as that lab, right? Fairness, we're into shiny objects, but you get where I'm going with this. So thank you so much for taking us along. Also, I want to remind everyone that tomorrow, now, we won't do it tomorrow because we're not going to be here tomorrow. But Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be talking more about the Mortal Up Alliance. We've recorded some new audio. We're recording some new script, how you can become a member of that. We're working on that. So we'll probably unveil that either Wednesday or Thursday. But in the meantime, you don't have to be a member of the Mortal Up Alliance to realize that it's perfectly time to square your shoulders with fate and say to fate, you should have brought some more guys. You should have brought some more girls. Right? You should have brought some more bad guys or bad girls because you're not going to derail. I was going to say my future, but you know what, Wayne? It's almost like you have a boundless horizon. truly boundless. You can pull off anything you want, and never let anyone stand in the way of that horizon. Never let anyone derail your dream. And I think that's what happened. When you bring your own grit, you'll go, man, I finally see it. It's my horizon. They're my dreams. I'll be damned if anyone's going to derail it. All right, in our closing minute, thank you all so very much again across the platforms. Thank you to everyone here at RadioBride.com. Don't forget, we'll have some new information as it pertains to the Mortal Up Alliance very, very shortly. And thank you to everyone that listened to the test pilot of the Mortal Up Alliance. Thank you for that. And we'll probably end up posting it over at the Mortal Up Alliance, the private Facebook group. If that's something you're interested in, please drop us a text or an email to Brian@RadioBride.com, and we'll make that happen. And as always, Wayne, thank you so very much for everything you do. Enjoy the day off tomorrow. It's very legal, right? It's very jurisprudence kind of thing. I'll be doing all that, figuring out how we can sue everybody around us that says that we post false information. Sue, sue, sue. And Wayne, thank you for everything you do to help keep the show up and running. I am out.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.